Hey everybody, hope you're all doing well. Well, I'm back on these LS heads, trying to knock these out, get them out of the way, so I can start on some different stuff that I need to get done for myself. I just started laughing to myself because this guy that I'm doing these heads for, he's one of my favorite people. He'll hand me a pair of heads and I'll say, hey, what do you think if I raise the exhaust port? He'll say, do you think that will work? I said, I think I have an idea. He'll say, let's do it. And I'll say, well, you're going to have to modify your headers and raise them up. Not a problem. Never a problem. And the guy, he'll tell me his combination. He'll tell me if it's going carbureted. He'll tell me the camshaft, the cubic inches. And the best part about that is sometimes he's on the scene where he's grudge racing stuff, and he'll still tell me the whole combo. And the reason that's important is because I started to laugh to myself because I had a guy, and it's been a while back, he brought me the same thing. He heard about my work. He said he wanted the car to be fast, and he told me a certain number he had picked out. And I said, how big's the motor? The motor was on the small side. And I said, well, that depends on how hard you want to turn it and everything. So the guy was giving me a combination, and I said, that's not going to work out to your best interest. Well, yeah, but I'll work around it. I thought, well, he must know what he's doing. So I do the heads for the guy. I find out the engine's a cube motor 2 years later. That was a 400 and some cubic inch engine. So you think it made more power? Or you think I had something left on the table? Well, I don't know, because I don't know what cam he put on it. And I don't know how high he was revving it. And I don't know what compression he had. But I know one thing, he didn't tell me what he needed to tell me to do the best job on them heads. So, guys, I'm going to tell you something. If you're given a machine shop or somebody that does head work your stuff, and you're trying to hold back from people finding out what you have, it might just bite you. I know there's a lot of guys out there, at least there is around our neighborhood, that don't want people to know what they have. And it's always bigger than what they say, the engine and things like that. But you can't do that to your guy that's helping you out. If you do, you're defeating the purpose. And I'm going to tell you, that will be in your best interest if you tell the person that's doing your head work or anything to do with that, the intake, if they're doing all that work for you, what you're doing. Because somebody that knows isn't just going to pour the pair of heads and think it's okay for any engine. Anybody who really does something like an LS head, they're going to ask you questions. And when they ask you, it's not because they're getting in your business, it's because they want to know so they can make it how you need it. Half the guys that do machine work and stuff don't really have any best interest in how fast your car is going, except for the fact they want to know that they did the best they could and have it run where at least you wanted it to run. They don't want it to be where, oh, they did my heads, they did this, they did that, and then the car is a mutt. That's not fair to the guy doing the work. And that's one thing I have to worry about with this guy, because he does a really good job picking parts out. I'm going to show you guys this. They're not Cathedral anymore. That's my tunnel port. Yeah, that's why I call them, guys. I'm still rounding it in and taking everything back and straight through. There's no bump here no more. There's straight through. People say, oh, rounded that off at the top. That doesn't help. And then they crack if you go too thin. I've never had a pair of these crack yet. Sometimes I'll do some extra work to make sure of that. But I've done these heads like this here so many times. I've never had them break here. I've had guys say they cracked factory and had problems with them. But I've never had a problem with them doing that. But yeah, even these I have somewhat rounded and tapered, but they're not like this yet. And I know this guy's combination. No, they're not too big, guys. Some people say, you start doing that, that makes them ports too big. Well, you could make them too big if you have the wrong combo, and that could be true. But they're not going to be too small or too big in my book when I know what the combination is, because I'm usually pretty close when I do the work for something what to expect out of them. That's just because of experience, guys. No magic wand, just because after you do this for a long time, you almost know. But another thing I wanted to run by you fellas is I was doing an intake for a pair of LS heads once, and my son posted it, and the guy said, oh boy, your dad really opened that thing up, and he started laughing. Oh, he really ported the crap out of that, because I didn't port it, because I didn't open it way up in the runners. All the work was done on the inside, and you know what the main reason for that was, fellas? I have a theory. The intake's better off a little bit smaller. Some guys are going to argue, oh no, you port max it perfect, blah, blah, blah. It depends where you're turning that engine and on the combo. But average straight motor, you leave that intake a little bit smaller, it helps it out. That's my own thinking, and it's things I've come across before that I've noticed that will run a little bit better if the intake's a little bit smaller. And the other part of that story is I actually had to match the heads to the intake because the intake was already bigger than the head was. So it's funny how guys will say things and ridicule you and just talk nonsense like that. It really amazes me. And most of the time it's a jealousy thing. It really is. That's what I've come across to notice. It's usually because of something like that. I don't understand why that has to be like that, guys, but I've noticed that a lot. And it really shouldn't be like that. Especially this guy right here. He gets this thing all together. He's not going to tell everybody what he did. No, I don't blame him. But he's just one of them guys. They'll see the number on the head, and they're like, why does that car run like it does? Because every time this guy does something, it's usually on the average build I've seen this guy do. His cars are usually like a second faster than something very similar. So it's neat when you can be involved with somebody that when you do something for them, you know they're doing the rest of it to match what you're doing, or vice versa too. So, you know, because that's a good thing. He'll tell me, and then I try to accommodate what he does, and he'll never hold back. So I just wanted to run that by you guys in case you're trying to play Secret Squirrel with your builder, or you're have somebody maybe do a short block for you, and then you're doing the camshaft. That can bite you. because they might use a different piston because of the cam you're choosing if you're trying to do things like that too. I've seen that go that way. So I'm just trying to help guys out that may be trying to pull the old Sneaky Pete and not want to tell, like I said, the engine builder or the head porter the whole story. Because all you're going to do is hurt yourself. So I just want to tell you guys that a lot of you fellas know it. I'm sure some of you guys have maybe already made that mistake. So it's just one of them deals. I thought I'd bring it to your attention, guys. I got laughing and thinking about the other guy that I did heads for, like similar to these before. And believe me, they could have been, like I said, a lot better for that combo that he had, from what I understand. So, but anyway, fellas, I guess always try to put my little stories out there, give you guys a little information, and then you can take it and do what you want with it. And it might help somebody, and it might make somebody else think about something if they're on the verge of doing something like I'm talking about here. So have a good night, everybody. And before I sign off here, I do want to thank all you new subscribers. I've had quite a few lately, and I appreciate it, fellas. And of course, my regular followers, thank you so much. I appreciate it, guys. All right, have a good night, everybody.